How much can you ignore? How much can you be ignorant of? Let's do everything that your parents, teachers, everyone told you not to do. Never ignore anyone. Someone speaks to you, answer back. You can start, switch it off, ignore. You know what? That's the best. I'm not listening to this one. I'm ignoring him. You see, I don't mind. Because that's a great step. That's a fantastic step. Just to switch this off now. And say, you know what? I don't need this. Goodbye. Brilliant. Now, anyone left? Maybe you've already taken that step so many times before, or skipped. I don't want this. So now you're committed to saying, I want to know more. What is this one saying? I'm going to stay for another minute. Give him some opportunity to entice me. Okay? So you stayed. Let's continue to ignore. Let's go right and be completely ignorant. Let's start with the topic of the 20th century. Non-duality. Let's ignore that. What's non-duality? Not two. It's not saying it's one. It's not saying it's nothing. But it's saying it's not bigger than one. It's not two. Let's ignore non-duality. So we're ignoring duality as well. Yes? So we're ignoring two, and we're ignoring possibly one, or possibly zero. So if we're ignoring non-duality, we're ignoring everything, including ourselves, because we are either one, if you believe you're the person in the body, but you're also ignoring your spirit or your soul. We're pushing that one out the door. Wow. So what's left? Two is not left. One is not left. And nothing is not left. So what's left? Beyond nothing? Let's continue. Everything that we have ever known, ever experienced, ever sensed, every thought, every piece of information, every knowledge, every breath, we're ignoring. Or we have to. If we're ignoring nothing. So are you still here to ignore? Can you be here to ignore? So you're not two. You're not higher self, lower self. You're not non-dual, possibly one, as self. You're not self. And you're also not nothing. Not two, not one, not nothing. And you're still here. So your mind is now struggling and saying, well, you have to be one. You're the middle one. You're here. So you're having a little wrestling match with your mind. But you're the witness of this mind. Yeah? So you can choose to ignore this one too. So we're not trying to establish what you are. We're trying to establish what you can ignore. And then you can find out what you are beyond nothing. You see, you can ignore anything that you see. You can ignore anything that you know, understand. We're not speaking about closing our eyes and pretending they're not there. We're speaking about denying that they're not there. The fact is, they are not there. If you can ignore it, you can choose to get rid of it. Why would you want to get rid of it? And what are you getting rid of? You're getting rid of thoughts. Things that are only temporary. Even though you know your car is outside without looking out the window, you don't know 100%. You could have dreamt it. It could be stolen. So the things that you're hanging on to and choosing not to ignore are keeping you attached to them. So it's not that you don't know that you can ignore. It's just that you think you don't want to ignore. You chose not to ignore this video. You've chosen to ignore duality. For the strong, maybe some have switched off and said, you know what, I don't understand. These words are not to get you to understand, to ignore understanding, to ignore everything that has been experienced. Ignore your whole past life. Because when you ignore nothing, the mind does not want to be classed as nothing. You don't want to be classed as nothing, let alone beyond nothing. I've worked hard all my life to be something. And this idiot says I'm even less than nothing. When you become, or when you realize that you are less than nothing, you're looking outward. You're not looking from the midpoint, from the body, the non-dual. You're not looking from the higher self one day and the lower self the next. When you're looking from beyond nothing, you can see everything. You have the clearest view. Everything is available. to ignore is the most powerful tool you have. The king of the country, does he go out and visit each single citizen to make sure that they're okay? Or does he just choose to ignore? He has enough. This is not about ridiculing. This is not about dividing and separating. He has enough to do with his work to keep this country together without visiting every single citizen. He is trusting you that you are looking after yourself. Through his ignorance or his ignoring, he is giving you power. Not to fight against this king, but to give him faith in his citizens, that they are all okay. Because he knows they are all capable of looking after themselves. He provides the land. He provides the homes. And then he gives you the freedom. And you have the freedom to ignore your home and live in a cardboard box. And you think this is weak. You think society is out to make you weak. There are no conspiracies. No one wants another to fail. Believe this. If you're to believe anything in your physical, egoistic, mind-based person life, believe this. There's no one out to get you except your mind. And he's doing this to push you to the edge so that you don't go over. You turn around and smack it and say, move. I'm going back to basics. I'm going back to my true, pure state, my true self. I'm ignoring you. And this is the one for all those who have remained, managed to remain. The biggest one, the hardest thing to ignore is not duality or non-duality or nothing. It's not to ignore your home or your house or your materialistic world, your universe. The hardest thing for anyone to ignore is their mind. And I say well done to you who stayed, because you're facing up to your mind. You're not listening to these words. You're not getting anything from these words. You're turning around and seeing, you know what? I am so powerful. I can ignore. And through my ignoring, I can reveal power. True power. Like the king. True power means faith, trust, acceptance that I am here, pure, and I don't have to rely on any of this to make me happy, to make me what I truly am. And I can choose to remove ignoring and accepting. One day I can go out like the king and knock on the doors of a few and say, how are you doing? I'm not ignoring you. Because I know it was safe to knock on your doors. And you'll bow to the King for his trust. You are the King when you choose to ignore and become. The controller of your destiny, not what you have in your life. You can choose to take things as well, cars, houses. But can you detach from them? Can you stay in your room and not look through your curtains to make sure your prized new car has not been stolen or scratched? Can you trust in your ignorance? If you can, what a wonderful, free, liberating, trusting, faithful one you are. One. Now you've returned. Now you've returned. And you can be duality. You can be non-duality. You can be nothing. Any one of these three things. You can be anyone. With or without them. You're still here. You are still the one who witnesses everything, who has the freedom to be powerful, to be God that you are. Now, it's my turn to ignore you. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.